Welcome back to Figureoutable Conversations. I'm Stacy Anderson, and this is part 2 of my conversation with Wayne Mockel. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, go back and start there. Wayne walked us through his father's story from World War II and his own long winding career from the steel mills of Pennsylvania all the way to the pickleball courts of Daphne, Alabama. In this episode, Wayne tells us the story of the project he said he was set up to fail and how he turned it into one of the most proudest moments of his career. We get into where he gets his identity as Daphne's unofficial pickleball ambassador, and the one lesson he wishes he'd learned sooner, and what it actually means for him to live a figure-outable life. Here's part 2 with Wayne Mockel. Now, but oh no, I remember robotics. Can you talk to
Yeah,
me a little bit about robotics?
I have done some robotic projects at Ciba-Geigy. When I worked there, uh, we had a production unit that actually made it. It was called the product was called Tinapal, and it was actually a chemical that's put into dishwashers, dishwashing soap, and it's what makes the whites look whiter than white. Remember they say whiter than white.
Sure,
Well, the
in like laundry, yeah.
Beyond product. Well, the actual chemical that does that, the whiter than white, was Tinapal, and we actually manufactured that up at Ciba-Geigy. Now, this particular chemical, what it was able to do, it would and it was a lot of the chemistry we dealt with at Ciba was it was a wavelength shifter. So it would absorb energy in wavelength and then release it in another. So the
Mm.
tinapals would absorb the energy in one way and release it up more toward the UV region. So it kind of made it fluoresce a little bit. It would actually fluoresce. But
Oh
anyway, we
wow.
had a production unit that actually made this. So the production unit requested that we develop a semi-automated system to do a lot of the chemical analysis because it was a 24/7, 365-day operation. And so I was put on the project. Now, I was put on the project because, and you're gonna laugh, um, I was a Yankee, and a lot of the people that I worked with, they were from the South, and they didn't like me because I just didn't fit in with their culture or whatever. And anyway, the manager that headed up this group, he wanted to fire me. So he put me on a project that he thought you're gonna laugh. He thought I would fail. He was setting me
Oh
up for
wow.
failure. He was setting that was the idea. So and they had two people before me who went in and they promised the production units that this system was going to do everything, just promised all this stuff. They didn't know how to do it. So the guy that wanted to get rid of me thought this is a good project. We'll put the noose around his neck and let him hang himself. So I was put on this project for the purpose of being terminated. And what was funny about it was we had this new guy came into the group and he saw what I was about ready to do. And he came to me and says, Wayne, I'd like to get on this project. This sounds like a good project. I said, No, you don't want on this project. The idea is they want to fire me. You don't want to get fired, do you? But I want to be on this project. So he pushed and pushed. He ended up on the project. So it was us two. We put on this project. And so the project was very complicated. I mean, so what we decided to do was we put in this a trailer in the middle of the production unit, and in the trailer we put a window, constructed a window, and we had a operate. We built a hopper interface box, and inside this trailer we had all the equipment that we were going to use to analyze this tinapot material that they needed. So, in order to do that, we had to get a robot system. And this robot was a robot arm. It was just an automated arm that would manipulate, weigh things, suck samples up, distribute it, and all that. So this is what they refer to as the robot project. So we were placed on this project, and one of the things those two people that got on the project promised that we'd be able to improve the accuracy of this measurement by so many percent. The only way to do that was to use this piece of equipment that was from Europe. It was called a dosamat, and it dosed out very exact amounts of liquids. So anyway, it was very complicated. And me and this other guy, we did it. We actually completed this. And every day, that guy that was trying to get me fired would come to that. He'd come around right before lunchtime, check on us, see what we were doing. And uh, and the longer he kept coming, the more he realized we were going to be successful. So his plan of firing me was not going to work. In fact, what happened was instead of getting fired, after we finished it, the production unit gave me a citation and I had all these awards given to me. He couldn't get rid of me because how could you get rid of somebody who won all these awards? So he was in a dilemma. I'm not going
Yeah.
to get rid of him. He was in a dilemma. Anyway, so the guy, the young kid that worked with me, uh, he did very well on the project. He did a lot of the software. He was doing a lot of software work. He was finally offered a position over in Switzerland because he did such a great job on this. And they sent him to Switzerland with his wife for 2 years. And usually that means they're going to move you up in the company. I knew they weren't going to move me up in the company. So what happened there was one of our process development group there, I must have heard about me. And one of the guys, the managers, came and saw what we were doing. And he offered me a position in the process development group to do online analytics. Now, this is how I got to this. But of course, that manager who wanted to fire me knew that if I moved, he couldn't get rid of me. So he tried to block it. He wouldn't let me transfer. And they waited and waited, and he kept blocking me and blocking me. Finally, the plant manager had to get involved. Go to that manager and say, you got to give this guy a date to get out of here. So he was forced to. So I was able to leave that group without being terminated. But no, he didn't like me. But the problem with me is I wasn't scared of him. He would try to intimidate you. The first thing he would try to get in your face. He would yell at you. He would scream at you and try to intimidate. He couldn't do it to me because that's the way my father treated me. So I was used to that. Part of me, you know, and I would go right back in his face, and so he didn't scare me at all. And everybody called him Mr. Bailey. I called him Jim. Hey, Jim. And that used to piss him off. But anyway, so, so when you have a father that's tough on you, those people like that don't bother you at all. So
Sure.
he couldn't do anything to me. Anyway, so I was able to transfer out of that group and go to another group. So there, and it was through that I did the online analytics stuff and moved up rapidly on the technical ladder over there in the process development. I was going nowhere in the group I was in, but I won all kind of awards there, and he couldn't fire me, so that was the problem for him. Yeah, but I did a robot system, but it was a very primitive robot compared to what they got now. It was so primitive. It was like, it was had very little ability to sense things. I mean, it was very primitive at that time. But that was the robot system, and what they did is if they had customers coming in to see us manufacture these Tinapau, a lot of these people that used it, the soap manufacturers, Procter and Gamble, and all these people would come down to see our quality control. And that was where they took them. They took them to the robot project. Look at this. This is high tech. Look what we're doing. See how we're controlling the quality of your product, blah, blah, blah. So it was a big
Wow.
hit.
Wow.
So yeah, that's typical of my life. That's how things go for me.
So
Okay,
like by that you mean like you are looked at as the underdog and
Yes,
then you'd figure shit out.
yes. Well, I can go on about stuff that difficult. I could go, I'll make it quick. Okay, for instance, when I was in high school, senior year, I was in the guidance counselor's office and she was blabbing away. I was daydreaming, didn't care what she was telling me. Finally, she asked me a question and I didn't know what she was talking about. I couldn't answer, so I was
Sure.
she said, well, I guess you weren't listening, were you? Well, I can't see you want to take a degree in chemistry. There's just no way in the world someone like you who can't pay attention, you know, end up in a chemistry program. I said, okay. So, uh, that was so
Yeah.
she said,
Watch
no,
me.
what?
Watch
So
me. Yeah.
there we go. So that was one of the things that would really fire me up. It was a driving thing for me. And then I went to college, went there, and I'm going to tell you what, you know how I look. I don't look like a chemist. I got big hands. I look like a pipe fitter. I don't. Chemists are usually tiny little guys with little arms, and they look like
Oh,
space
okay.
people.
Okay.
Stereotyped. They're stereotyped. And I don't look like one. I don't look like a chemist. I don't act like a chemist, and anything like that. So I really got to the feeling when I went to take chemistry in college that was kind of a detrimental thing for me, that they stereotyped me. So the result was this. I barely made it through. And there were times when I would exceed their expectations. For instance, they gave us a take-home test in chemical measurements. And it was a really difficult question was on this thing. But I spent the entire weekend working on this. I solved this equations that this was on this test, handed it in, and the professor called me into the office and asked me, did somebody help you on this? I think you cheated. I said, no, I didn't cheat. I got the references down there from where I got the information and everything. I didn't. He accused me of that. And
Hmm.
that pissed me off really bad. After that, I got to the point where I said, okay, now I kind of know where I stand. That this was going to be a fight to the death. That I did not know if I was going to make it. And it was. It was a fight to the death, but I finally made it. And they finally said, uh, at the senior meeting we had with all the chemistry majors on the faculty of the chemistry department, they actually said to me, so we're not sure we're going to let you walk coming up. We're not sure you're going to get your degree. And I turned to him, I says, are you kidding me? I have all these people coming up to see me graduate. You got to tell me. You got to tell me now, either today, tomorrow. You got to tell me.
Hmm.
They finally said, okay, we're going to let you walk, but we're going to change everything. And so no one like you could get through again. Are you kidding me? Why were they doing that? Anyway, so
Wow.
af- afterwards, I was the only person that went on to get, I ended up working for, Gulf Research at one of the top research facilities in the United States as a chemist. And here they're telling me that. So, of course, I sent them information. Whenever I did a paper, I sent them the papers for the purpose of this, smeared it in their face. Anytime I gave technical talks in international talks, which I was invited to do at these big international conferences, I sent them the itinerary with my name on it. So they knew. I was the only one. I was the only person that came out of their chemistry department that was actually using it. Everybody else, they went on to be a doctor, dentist, something else.
Uh-huh.
I was the only one. So these people, so I think back on that. I said, wait a second. I did all those papers. I have patents, and they thought I couldn't do this. There was something wrong. And what was wrong was my appearance, the way I acted. I didn't act like a chemist. I was, you know, that's what I think. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
because
yeah. That's
I worked with people from MIT that were PhDs. I ran circles around these people. They had no idea what I was doing. They didn't, these people had no common sense. That was the other thing. Most of these people, MIT or Princeton, they had no common sense. They didn't know how to do things. They didn't know how to complete a project. They didn't know how to, approach it and get it done. I knew how to do that. It's just like it was crazy. So I was kind of, so the whole time I was always energized to
mm,
to do the projects, to be successful. And some people would go home at the normal time, not me. I'd stay over because I wanted to get this thing done. So, so it gave me extra drive that probably I would
nice.
not have had.
Yeah.
So so I took negative energy. Here we go. Here's when you take negative energy. You could really get nasty. You could think,
Oh, sure.
life is bad and never works out for me. Or you can take that negative energy, turn it into positive energy. And say, I'm going to do the best damn job I can. And I'm going to show these people that I can do this job better than anybody else. So that's what I did. I would take negative, make it positive. That's
Boom.
how that's how
Nice.
you do it, because I'm gonna tell you what, the world is evil. The world is against you. And you got to be able to do that, or else you won't exist in this world. You won't be able to do anything. Because everybody's jealous of somebody who can do things. And they want you to fail. That's the way people are.
Your role that you've taken, your self-appointed role as the pickleball ambassador in Daphne, Alabama.
Well, where I got this from is from, Linda and Gerald. Gerald, when I think I told you about when I first walked into the Nicholson Center down there. They were playing pickleball, and Gerald came up to me, and he was the nicest guy, and he was very accepting, and he was very good at being positive and instructing me. And so I've kind of taken his demeanor, how he acted toward me
Yeah.
is how I try to act toward everybody that now I see out there. So that was part of Gerald's, because he was very good. He was a very good teacher. He was a very good person to just be around, very positive, you know. So that's where I get my ambassadorship from him, from Gerald, who's no
Awesome.
longer with
Well,
us.
yes, we
Who's no
will, we
longer
will,
with us. But
we will tell Linda that
yeah,
Gerald's legacy lives on through channels that
yes,
people
she
wouldn't
doesn't.
even imagine.
That's right. I don't think she realizes what they started. And
Hmm.
I saw her one time. She used to come. She don't come anymore, but she used to come. And I said, and I went to her and I said, you see what you started here? And it was like, 50, 60 people running around. See what you started here? See what has happened?
Hmm.
Well, you guys just starting this club. It's really grown. And
Yeah.
I don't know if she realizes that. She might, but you know,
Yeah. I'm gonna call her again one of these days. We
yeah,
get together. We got together about a month ago, to have lunch, some of us
yeah,
ladies. So I'm gonna have to make that more,
yeah. It's
make a
very
point
nice.
to do that because
Yeah.
Gerald and Linda are, uh, you know, top-notch examples of how to live a good life.
Yes. I mean, they do, they are. I mean, they're
Hmm.
just pretty amazing. And I didn't know, I knew Gerald about a couple years, that's all. But unfortunately, he died. So, but that happens. So
Yes,
that's
it
where I get
does.
my ambassadorship ideas from him.
Your life. What's a lesson you wish you would have learned much sooner?
Uh, I wish that when I was younger, I'd had more confidence in myself. Um, it was kind of hard to do. When you get older and you look
Yeah.
back, it's a lot easier to look back than to
Sure, sure,
actually
sure.
change things when you were living through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the same. But I wish I had more confidence when I was growing up. I wish I went to a better school system than I was in.
Hmm.
I mean, I was in the blue collar school system. We were supposed to work in the steel mills.
Okay.
Meanwhile, and this is what I found out going to college too, that the local other white collar districts all around me, they had all these advanced courses. I didn't have any of those advanced courses. They would have like advanced chemistry. They would have calculus, advanced calculus. They'd have PhDs teaching them in the neighboring school system. They didn't have any of that. We were supposed to be working in the steel mills, making
Wow.
steel. That's what I was supposed to do, you know?
Wow.
So when I got to college, I was way behind those people. So they graded everything on the curve. So I was always fighting these curves because these people would just nail the curve up so high, and I was always struggling with that. So I
Hmm.
wish I went to a better school system. Um, but that's just what happened. There's nothing I could do
Hmm.
about that.
Right. Right. And
I wish I could have.
I
I
think
wish I could have
confidence,
had those courses. 'Cause,
I was going to say, I think confidence
yeah,
comes from getting those experiences under your belt. So
yeah,
you can't necessarily expect to have it. You've got to build it,
yeah,
right? It's just not like an
yeah.
on-off switch.
No, no. So have a better education if I could have, better background. And if I had had a better background, there's no telling what I could have. I would have probably gone into medical or got a PhD or something. But instead, what I did was, I got a Bachelor of Science, and then I decided the best thing I could do would get a technical degree in electronics. And that's what I did. I went back and got a degree in electronics, which made me a very unique individual. So I could do two things, do electronics and chemistry. So that made
Mm-hmm.
me a very unique individual.
All right. Let me ask you, what accomplishment are you most proud of and why?
Ah, good. Well, of course, I'm very proud of my two kids. Both doing well. So, uh, Lindsay, she's a chemistry teacher in Portland, Oregon. My son, of course, he's got to be a commanding officer on a missile destroyer. So, they're doing very well. So that's important to me.
Mhm.
I guess my professional accomplishments, I'm proud of that, what I was able to achieve. Um, I achieved my life goals, so I'm happy with that. Uh, can't think of anything else.
Yeah, it just sounds like a well-rounded life well lived.
Question for you, but I'll wait till you finish your
Oh no,
question.
you go first.
Well, I'm just curious. I mean, you're doing all this, and
Yeah.
what do you hope to get out of all this of putting these podcasts together, interviewing people, getting their life stories? I mean, what what do you think people will get from this, and what do you get out of this? What's
Okay, let's answer the first one first.
yeah.
What do I think people will get out of this? What I hope people will get out of this is realizing through lessons of hearing other people's life lessons that their life is way more figure outable, changeable, adaptable than they think
Mm,
it is, to where
hmm
you don't just because you were this. I mean, for you, for example, you could have lived your entire career in making steel, right?
I
That's what
could
you
have.
were raised to do. But that's
Yes.
not what you chose. And I'm hoping
No.
that your story and the way that you live your life and the challenges that you've overcome, the mindsets that you've developed can help
hmm
other people realize, hey, if that Wayne Mockel did it,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe I can do it too, type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What do I want to get out of it?
What
Um,
do you want to get out of it?
basically, what my goal is, my what I decided my life goal was, is to be able to have the freedom to walk on the beach and do whatever the hell I want, and
Well, you're doing
and
that.
and
You're
at
walking
the
on the beach.
right, and at the same time help a lot of people. And I
Uh,
think that the interviews that I've got scheduled I can put them out there, and people can, if they listen to them, will we'll grab a little nugget or a few nuggets from what Wayne Mockel does, grab a few nuggets from whatever the next person I interview was, maybe
Hmm.
throw away some of it. Like, I don't know what he was talking about with,
Hmm.
with that, but
Yeah.
just so that, I mean, I'm living a great life and I want other people to live a great life too, and they can figure it out.
Mhm. Okay.
You've got to have your dreams and okay, this is what I want. Let's
Yeah,
figure out how I can do it.
I think that's important that you figure out while you're still young what your dreams are. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do in life? I mean, and I think it's important to find something that you have a passion for. You just don't want to have a job you go to every day
Exactly.
and do the same thing. I'm gonna do something every. It would be boring. But if you have a job that you go to and you're passionate about it, and you want to do this and you want to do that, it makes your life so much easier to live. It's not such a, battle because you enjoy going to work. I enjoy doing this.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
think
I
that's
get to
important.
talk to Wayne today at 11 o'clock, right? I
So,
mean, I, I,
there you go. If you
I love
enjoyed it, yeah.
it.
If you enjoy this, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
for
you want to
sure.
do.
Yeah,
So
and
if
I'm
you
like,
don't,
oh, I get to talk to this person next week, and I get to talk to
yeah,
that person next week, and it's cool.
I
And then
would,
and then the rest of the time I can
yeah,
be the
I could,
grandma, be the beach walker. What do you plan to kick ass doing in these next 7 years?
well, I want to be in my grandkids' lives to some degree. In other words, I don't want to be there all the time,
Yeah.
but I do want to be part of their life. So that's important to me.
Yeah.
I want to see more of the United States. Now, this is, I somehow Cindy and I, we just haven't gone around to seeing everything I want to see in the United States. I really don't
Hmm.
care what's outside the United States,
Okay.
but I want to see the Grand Canyon. I want to see some of the areas, Montana and some of that. Uh, so those are the things I want to do is travel some, see some things we haven't done yet. Uh, be with the kids, uh, our grandkids and our children whenever we can. And fortunately, we have the wherewithal to do that.
Yes.
So we can see them when we want. So that's nice. Uh, yeah. What else? Uh, really, you know, play guitar. I want to get to. I would eventually like to start doing some maybe concerts or something. Maybe join a band of some type. Do that. Uh, music stuff. Um, uh, I'd like to do some more consulting work, uh, if I can get any. We'll see. That's comes and goes. Uh, I don't know. That's about it. All I can think of right now.
Well, I will ask you this to kind of wrap it up. Is there anything that we haven't talked about yet that you want people to know?
Uh, I guess the other part of me is my faith. I guess I'm a Christian.
Oh, okay.
I should mention that. Brought up a Presbyterian. Uh, I believe a lot of the things that I've done in my life was guided by God. Um, that it would not have happened without His presence, and the fact I could move around and go from place to place like I have. It always seemed like I'd get laid off, or I'd somewhere, and in the end look like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But then a week or two later, something happens, and I end up in a better situation
Hmm.
than I was before.
There you go.
So I always attributed that to God and praying about things and that kind of stuff. So that's part of me. I mean, that was one of the things my parents brought me up in the church, Presbyterian church, about your family too.
Hmm.
Family is so important that
Hmm.
you maintain connections with them and all that. So anyway,
Yeah.
so Okay, well, it was great.
Okay. Yeah, I
It-
will.
it-
Where'd you
I
go?
fell, you fell over.
I will.
Okay,
I'll let you know when this is available for you to share on YouTube.
very good then. Okay, you take
Okay.
care. Say hello to
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah. Okay,
Bye
I
bye.
will. Bye. That's it for this episode of Figureoutable Conversations. You can continue the conversation in my Figureoutable Living community on school, where you'll find people encouraging each other as we figure out life together.